All right, today we're going to do customary units of measurement, which is 7.3. We are in the measurement standard. And what I need for you to have out while you're doing this is the assessment reference sheet, the other sheet that I gave you last week that you can use on the park test, because a lot of the conversions that you're allowed to use on the park test are found on this sheet, and it will help you out. So we're going to start with measurements of length. We have inches, feet, yards, and miles, 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard, and 1,760 yards in a mile. Okay? So a couple years ago, I came up with some mnemonic devices to help, and some things that help. This isn't really a mnemonic device, but it's a phrase that helps you remember what you should do. So my phrase is, and I'm going to write it up here, if you're going from a large unit to a smaller unit, the phrase is horse to fly, you need to multiply. So if you're going from a unit that's larger, like yards, there are yards to inches for this first one. Yards are way bigger. Inches are smallest, then feet, then yards, then miles. So yards are bigger. So large is yards, small is inches. So yards is like the horse, fly is like the inches. It's just kind of easier to remember, horse to fly, multiply. So that's like the little saying that I say. So if I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller, I'm going to say horse to fly, multiply. Okay, so then you need to multiply. You're going from a bigger unit, yards, to a smaller unit, inches. Okay, so now we need to do the conversion. So, like I said, we got to start with inches. So there's 12 inches in 1 foot. And now we're in feet. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. And now to figure out how many inches in a yard, we're going from, again, small to large, we need to multiply. So there's going to be 36 inches in 1 yard. Okay, so now if we have 72 yards, we said we need to multiply, so you need to do 72 times 36, and you end up with 2,592. And I'm not going to show all that multiplication, but you would, because I don't have a lot of space here, but you're going to need to do that, and you can use the back of your paper to do that and show that work, because you will be required tomorrow when you have homework on this to show that. Okay, so then for example 2, we're going from, I'm going to erase this. Okay, we're going from inches, which are over here, to feet, which are next to it. So again, now we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So if you're going from, I'm going to write that up here. If you're going from small to large, you're going to say fly to horse, divide of course. Okay, so if you're going to start, and I'll put that in blue, small to large, you're going to do fly to horse, divide of course. So inches are smaller, feet are larger. So let's see, what's the conversion? There are 12 inches in a foot. So I'm going to write that down, 12 inches equals 1 foot. So now we need to divide, so you need to do 18 divide by 12. And you can just reduce that fraction. 18 and 12 are both divisible by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 12 divided by 6 is 2. And 3 halves is either 1.5 or 1.5. So your answer here is 1.5 feet. And again, the mnemonic would be fly to horse, divide of course. That's a no. Okay? So I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to go down here. And now we're going to do ounces, pounds, and tons. And again, you have your reference sheet, because some of these conversions are on here. The conversions that are on the reference sheet, you're welcome to use. 16 ounces to a pound are on there. 2,000 pounds and a ton are also on there, so you can use your reference sheet. Okay, so we're going from ounces, which is right here, to pounds, which is right here. So we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So again, smaller to larger, fly to horse, divide of course. Okay, so the conversion is, again on your sheet, 16 ounces equals 1 pound. We have to divide, so you're going to do 40 divided by 16. Again, just reduce your fraction. 40 and 16 are both divisible by 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 2 goes into 5. 2 and 1/2 left over, or you could do 2.5. Okay, then we're going to move on to this one. We have 3 tons in ounces, so let me erase the blue. We're going to start with tons, and we're going to go to ounces, so we're starting with a larger unit, and we're going to a smaller. So horse to fly, bigger to smaller, you're going to multiply. Okay, so the conversion, there are, starting at tons, there are 2,000 pounds. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. And then there are 16 ounces, or excuse me, let me erase that. And then 1 pound is 16 ounces. So since we need to multiply, you need to do 2,000 times 16. There are 32,000 pounds, 32,000 ounces in 1 ton. So we need to do 32,000 times 3 because we have 3 tons. So I'm going to scoot this down a little bit. 32,000 times 3, so that's going to give us 96,000. So there are 96,000 ounces in 3 tons. Okay, so now we're going to go down here and do our fluid ounces. These are all on your sheet. They're on the right-hand side, cups to pints to quarts to gallons. So we're going to start with example 5. 6 quarts is how many cups? So if quarts are over here and cups are over here, cups are, remember, the farther on the left that you are, the smaller the units. So we're starting with quarts, which are larger, and going to cups, which are smaller. So we are going to do horse to fly, multiply again. So let's do blue. Horse to fly, you're going to multiply. All right, so we need to go from quarts. So I'm looking at my sheet, and I have 1 quart equals 2 pints. Okay, and then I have 1 pint equals 2 cups. So now, since we have to multiply, 2 times 2 means 4 pints in 1 quart. But we have 6 quarts, so we then need to do 6 times 4, which gives us 24. So there are 24 cups in 6 quarts. All right, so now we're going to erase the red up here. It's nice if we won't let me erase the red. Okay, so we'll go over it in red again. So now we're going from fluid ounces, which is all the way down here, to gallons, which is all the way down here. So fluid ounces are smaller. So we're going from fly to the largest, which is horse. So we're going to divide, of course. Tried to make them rhyme to be easier. Okay, so this is going to be a lot of writing. So we start with fluid ounces, and if we look at the paper, there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. Okay? And then we move on. 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. We have 2 cups in 1 pint. Then the next one is 2 pints in 1 quart. And then we have 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. Okay, now, since we're going from fly to horse, in a minute we're going to have to divide, but, oops, excuse me. First thing we're going to do is we're going to have to multiply these. 8 times 2 times 2 times 4. That's going to give us 128 fluid ounces in 1 gallon. So we have 128 fluid ounces, so we need to do 128, divide by 128, and that gives us 1. So 128 fluid ounces equals 1 gallon. Okay? So go ahead if you want to and take a second and do that work, because I'm going to have to, I'm going to erase this part. You can rewind it if you need to see that part again, so that I have enough room to do this last question, these last 2 questions. Okay, so the average American eats 23 pounds of pizza per year. So I'm going to set it up with pounds, 23 pounds per year. Set it up as a rate like we did yesterday. Find the number of ounces per year. So we need to end up with ounces per year. Okay, so that means pounds needs to be turned into ounces. The only way to turn it into ounces is we have to do the conversion for ounces to pounds. And like we just said on our paper, we have 16 ounces per pound. So since you want pounds to cancel out, you're going to put 1 pound down here. Your pounds will cancel out, just like any problem, whatever you can, like if you look up here, 128 over 128, you can reduce those, and they cancel each other out. And then you're going to have 16 ounces over here because the conversion is 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so now we have ounces in our numerator, right here, and we have years in our denominator, just like we want. So you need to multiply across. 23 times 16 gives you 368 ounces in 1 year. So that's your answer, 368 ounces in 1 year. Okay, so for the last one here, we have a car traveled 990 feet, so 990 feet down a road in 15 seconds. Okay, how many miles per hour? So we need to turn feet into miles and seconds into hours. So the first thing I'm going to do, if you look back at the last one, we had 23 pounds per year. That was already reduced per year. So we're going to divide this whole fraction. Let's do it in blue. We're going to divide this whole fraction by 15 to get feet per second. So 990 divided by 15 is 66 feet. And 15 divided by 15 is 1. So we're going to have 66 feet per 1 second. Okay, I'm going to erase this for a second also. Move it down here, miles per hour. Okay, so we need to turn feet into miles. So if we look at our conversion sheet, there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And that's given to you on your conversion sheet. Now our feet cancel out. And we have miles, which is what we want. Now we need to turn seconds into hours. Now that one's not given to you. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Now my seconds cancel out. And we're going to do times. We're going to have to go down here. Now I have 60 minutes in 1 hour. So now my minutes cancel out. And now I have in my numerator, I have feet. And in my denominator, I have hours, which is what we want for our answer. So we're going to need to multiply all the numbers in the numerator. But we're starting, remember, we already did this part, so we're not going to include that. So we're going to do 66 times 60 times 60. So you're going to have 66 times 60 times 60. And then you're going to divide that by 5,280. Okay? And I will let you do this one. You can plug those numbers. Those are pretty big numbers into your calculator. That's fine. 66 times 60 times 60 divided by 5,280. On one like this, the test would let you use a calculator. And I end up with 45 miles per 1 hour. Okay, so we'll do some more of these in class tomorrow. Have a good night, and I'll see you then.